Hey, my name is Melinda Russell, and I am obsessed with telling the stories of women involved in motorsports, young and older, from all walks of life, currently involved in a wide range of roles or sharing their stories from the past. I'm a wife, mother of 4 adult children, and a mama of 16. In 2017, I was searching social media for a group dedicated to women in motorsports. When I didn't find what I was looking for, I posted a message to a few racing pages to see if any women would like to connect with me. And now I have thousands of women and men who are part of the Women's Motorsports Network. As crew chief of the only media company dedicated to women in motorsports, I work from wherever my travels take me, publishing this podcast, the Women's Motorsports Network News online magazine, and Let's Talk Racing Live, my social media show. You will hear from women who share their stories from the grid of life, how they manage the messy and memorable moments of family, work, and racing. You will hear their tried and true secrets of success and many other topics like friendships, family, hardships, and heroes that women deal with to balance the seasons of life. So grab your favorite beverage, pull up a seat, make sure you are comfy, and get ready to be inspired and encouraged from the stories on the Women's Motorsports Network podcast. Hello, everyone. This is Melinda Russell with the Women's Motorsports Network podcast. And my guest tonight is Brooklyn Hopp. Brooklyn is a young gal interested in motorsports, and that's who we like to talk to. So, Brooklyn, we're going to start by letting you tell our listeners a little bit about yourself. I told them your name, but like if you want to share where you live, how old you are, your family, your pets, whatever you're comfortable sharing.
Okay, so I live in Andover, Minnesota, and I'm 10 years old. My favorite things to do is race, like read, and I love school. I also love math a lot. I have one dog named Cam. She's a chocolate lab, and I love to cuddle with her.
Oh, yeah. I have a little Shih Tzu. So he's a tiny dog. He only weighs 11 pounds, but he loves
Oh
to
yeah,
cuddle. And I love to cuddle with my dog too. So you're
yeah,
10 years old and you love school. I love hearing that. And then math must be your favorite subject.
yes,
Yes, that's a good subject to have as a favorite because you're going to use that the whole rest of your life. So when you get to geometry or algebra, don't get discouraged because they're not as fun as some of the other math, but they're important. So you hang in there, okay?
all right.
Okay. So, Brooklyn, how did you get interested in motorsports?
So my dad actually started racing when I was 4 or 5, and he raced in Super Comp and Super Pro. So I had actually no interest in doing it at that time because I thought the sport was a lot more just for boys because I only saw boys doing it. Then one night when I was 6, we sat down and we were just scrolling through Disney Plus for a movie to find, and we found Right on Track. It's like a story about Erica and Courtney Enders and
Mm-hmm.
how their junior career was. And then I'm like, I want to do this. So I kind of was just begging my parents. I'm like, can I please race? And it took a while convincing, especially for my mom. But yeah,
Yeah. Now, do you have any siblings?
no, I mean only.
Okay. I kind of thought that maybe you were the only because mom doesn't want her only and her girl especially to get hurt, does she?
No.
And racing can be a little scary. I mean, but so can walking across the street and riding in the car. So we just have to trust that really in the car you're probably safer because you have all that safety equipment. So why don't you tell us, you said you were, when did you start? Were you about 6 years old or not quite?
I was 6 when I started.
Okay. All right. So 6 years old. And what was the first thing that you raced in? What kind of car did you race in?
I raced in a Jags chassis kit in it for a car, and then for my motor it was a 2006 Animal.
Okay. Now,
206, sorry.
that's okay. So, what was the hardest thing for you to get used to or to overcome when you started racing? Were you
The
scared when you
hardest,
first got into the car?
yeah, it was really scary, especially when you look down the track and then you're like trying to make sure you're like, oh, I got to get the timing correctly, and then making like going down. It's kind of scary. You're like, oh, I'm actually driving. I'm in control.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. But sometimes it's good to be in control instead of depending on somebody else. Just depends on your personality. Some people like that and some people don't.
Yeah.
So you were 6 years old when you started, then now you're 10. So tell me what's happened between when you were 6 and now that you're 10. What have you done?
So my first year of racing, when I was 6, I we just raced at Rock Falls to kind of like learn the basics of it, and we did the bracket series points, and I won my first championship there on my first year. And then on my second year, we kind of spread out to tracks. We went to Grove Creek Raceway. We did Brainerd International Raceway, Rock Falls Raceway. And so we kind of did that. And I did points at every single one. I did mini series at Grove. I did bracket points at Brainerd. And then I did bracket points at Rock. And I actually won the Rock race as well for a championship again. And then I raced at Eddyville. That's in Iowa. I don't know the
Mhm.
exact full name, but then I won the 90 index race.
Okay. So I know about Eddyville, Iowa, because I used to live in Illinois, and Eddyville's a very famous track, as well as some of those other tracks that you just mentioned. So you didn't just go to some little tiny tracks where there was not very, no, you just went straight to the big time, didn't you?
Yeah, we tried.
Yeah. And you've won 2 championships already?
I've actually won 4. So on my third year of racing, I won a championship at Rock again. And then for this year of racing, I won a championship at Rock again for my 4th year in a row. I won the Grove Creek Mini Series championship, and then I got second for bracket points at Brainerd.
Wow. So when you pull up to the track, do the boys go, oh, Brooklyn's here, she's going to beat us, or
I've
are they
actually got
pretty nice to you?
some can be nice. Some I've had some boys throw helmets at me when I was even younger. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So what do you think makes you so successful? That's a lot of championships, especially between 6 and 10 years old. So what makes you so successful?
I think that what makes me so much successful is like I'm so happy that my family can contribute and we can do it with my dad racing as well. It's fun to do it as with a family. And I also think that one of the main things for my racing is to trust my car because I've given up a lot of some of my races I've given up because of not trusting the car. And if I would have trusted the car, I would have won it. So I think the main thing is to trust the car.
Okay. So if somebody's not a race car driver, they don't know much about racing. When you say trust the car, can you explain that a little bit more about what does that mean?
So trusting the car, like instead of because a lot of it is playing the finish line, and I feel like you got to make sure you got to know where the car is going to be for you, either to let off and go back on, or what to do. And I feel like you just got to know that spot, and you can't second guess yourself.
Okay. Yeah. And you kind of have to trust yourself too a little more and have confidence in yourself and your driving, that sometimes we in life, and you're young yet, you probably haven't experienced this a lot, but a lot of times we'll second guess, oh, do I really remember how to make this recipe, or do I really know how to make this or that or do this or that? And if we would just trust that we really do know what we're doing, then it's a lot more fun, and you'd be even more successful. Although I don't know how you could be much more successful than you already are. So 10 years old, tell me about your car. What kind of car is it now? What color is it? What number? All the goodies.
Okay, so I have a JR race car, a Hercules JR race car, and then it's a 2009 Raptor that I just raced, and then 2009 JR Hercules car, and then for my motor it's a Raptor, and my next year's motor will be a Blockzilla. And then my car is like green, orange, yellow, and it's like flames. And my number is 5215.
Okay, and they assign you the number, don't they? You don't get to choose it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. But you do get to choose the colors. Those are pretty flashy, fast colors, aren't they?
Yes.
Yeah. So, are there a lot of girls that race against you when you travel to these different tracks?
Yeah, usually for the main tracks we have about 5, 6, but moving into a new class, I will be next, like this upcoming year. There's going to probably be, I know that there's probably 6, 7 for most of them.
Okay. And those are girls that race at most of the same tracks you race at, or yeah. So you race
Yeah.
against them a lot then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And you know, sometimes when you're successful like that, it's hard for other girls to be friends, but are you friends when you're not racing?
With some people I am. So I have like really close friends that I've had since I started racing, and we're always friends. But I feel like when we're always friends in the staging lanes everywhere, but like once you get in the car, you gotta get to switch to focus mode. So like I feel like all the friendliness kind of just blocks out.
Yeah, exactly. So friends before and after the race and competitors during the race, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So what's the fastest that you've ever gone?
Um, I think it's been about
It was 60.
60. That's when we switched over when I was 8. That's when we switched over to a new motor and we didn't know what it was going to do.
Okay. So 60 miles an hour, pretty good speed there for a 10-year-old, I guess. So is that mom sitting there beside you?
Yes.
Okay, so mom, when she goes down the track and maybe let's talk about the first time she went down the track. Where were you and what were you doing?
I was standing right behind her, I guess the car, and I was kind of freaking out. Um, just kind of saying some blessings and kept on just telling her to go straight. Just go straight. If you don't feel comfortable, get out of it. Get out of it.
Hmm.
Um, I was I was scared, I guess. It's my kid going down a
Yeah.
car that I don't have control of, and
Yeah.
I kind of put my trust in her. And when I saw her face at the end of the track when we went and picked her up, it made me feel a lot better because I never seen her smile like that.
Oh, yeah. And so now, that's basically 4 years ago as she's progressing to faster cars and she's growing up and probably more challenging races and that, um, as a parent, it's got to be still difficult, but yet, she's doing what she loves. So can you speak to that just for a little bit?
Yeah, I guess like I said, I put my trust in her, and I know that she's capable of handling the car, and I've seen the car go out of the groove, and she's had to drive the car down to the finish line, and she's gotten back into it. I've seen her where the car just wasn't reacting how she wanted it to, and she just let off the gas and just, I mean, it costed her the race, and but it confirmed in me as a parent that she's being responsible enough to
Yeah.
continue. And this next year, she's going to go up to the 890 class, where she'll be doing about 80, 85. And I'm going to be a little bit nervous, but I'm going to trust her and I
Yeah.
trust that she'll get out of it if she has to. And if anything happens, I'm right there. My husband's right there. We got
Yeah.
EMTs on there.
Yeah.
So she's taken care of. I mean, she's got more safety gear than I can count. And I always check that before she runs.
Yeah.
And my husband's a mechanic for a living. So he looks over the car really good. So she's pretty safe.
She's in good hands for sure.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. And when I hear you, say, she knows when to back off. That's the thing that is hard for a lot of race car drivers. I don't care what age they are, to learn is to when to back off, because one race win or whatever it might be is not worth wrecking the car, getting hurt, hitting somebody else, whatever. And so for her to know that at a young age shows a lot of maturity. I think that also comes from being an only child, that they mature faster, I think, a lot of times. Yeah. So
Yeah, I would say
Mhm. Go ahead.
another thing I can say too, when before she was racing, she wouldn't leave my side. She was glued to me. And at the beginning, I kind of had to push her to be like, oh, go meet friends. There's a little girl over there. Go talk to her. And at first, she was really, really shy. But now we get to the track, I don't even see her. She's
Yeah.
out the RV door and she's going to go hang out with her friends. And I mean, that shyness has gone away and that she's confident and
Yeah.
she's, like I said, like she's just very independent and she knows, the rules and she's just I'm proud of her. I can't say more. I'm proud of her.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Um, yeah, and I think racing, well, all sports, but racing, I think especially gives kids, well, sometimes they grow up a little too fast, maybe, but it also teaches them a lot of life lessons and gives them, if she's confident on the racetrack, now she's confident in herself outside of the racetrack, making friends. And that's something that you'll never take away from her. Those are things that she's learning as part of the race community that'll be part of her life for a long time. So that's awesome for sure. And I know you're proud of her. How could you not be, for sure? So Brooklyn, what's the best part about driving that car from the time you take off till you stop? What's the best part about that?
Probably knowing that, probably knowing that if I make a mistake, it's not like if I make a mistake, it could ruin something, but knowing that I can trust myself in it and just see where it takes me.
And do you like that it's the speed? Is it adrenaline? What is it about racing that's better than playing softball?
Um, the speed. I love going fast. I think it's super fun to just go speed down the track.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. That's what I hear from pretty much every young woman that I interview is they love the speed, for sure. So what are some other things that are good about being part of the racing community? What have you learned, or what do why do you look forward to going to the racetrack on the weekends?
I look forward first to, of course, racing and then seeing my friends. But I really like how everyone at the racetrack it's like one big family. If something breaks, everyone is there to like step in.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. And the one thing about racing, a lot of times we see the same people week after week, and they do become like family, whereas a lot of other sports, you might play one team one weekend and a different team a different weekend, and you don't really get to know those people as well. But if I came to a race and asked one of your competitors, tell me about Brooklyn Hop, what's one of the things they would say about you as a person or as a competitor?
I think that they would say it's tough maybe to go against me, but I feel it is super fun. I think a lot of people think it's fun to go against me, especially when me and my friends when we go against each other. We've been racing with each other for the past 4 years. It's always like, yay, we're with each other, but sometimes it's like, oh, we're racing again, but then it's like at the end of the track, it's fun.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
I
You
would
wouldn't
say
do it
that,
if
and
it.
then also the sportsmanship too.
Mhm.
I mean, we always have it that she is to go up to the opponent, no matter who it is, whether she's the biggest fan of them. If not, she still goes up to them before the race in the staging lanes. She'll shake hands with them, wish them luck, and then the same thing at the end of the track. I mean, that's
Yeah.
what you do every single race. I'll come down and you're out of the car. She goes and gets her time slip, and she runs over and shakes her opponent's hand, whether she wins or loses.
Yeah. Yeah. And that, there you go again. That's a life lesson, isn't it? That's
Yep,
something we
for
have to
sure.
learn to do. Yeah. Because we're not going to win 100% of the time. Now, she's been pretty lucky. She's had a lot of wins. Most race car drivers lose more than they win. And you probably have too. You've probably lost more than you've won. I mean, that's just normal in racing. But, it's not hard to take those losses in stride when you know that you've done your best. And I'm sure that every time you go out there, you do your best. So do you have a routine? Like once you either right before you get in the car or once you get in the car, do you have any kind of routine or superstitions, lucky charm or anything that you have when you race?
Usually when we're pushing up, me and my mom do like a handshake, and then I like take a deep breath in the water box, and then before I always go, Dad gives me a fist bump.
Okay. All right. So you always do those things and then you're focused and you're ready to go. So when you talked about being focused on the drive down the track, is there like a certain spot that you look at down the track, or what do you do so that you can make sure you're going to go nice and straight and go as fast as you can?
I usually look at the group to make sure I stay in the group, but then like I try to like turn my head a bit to look at the opponent to make sure that they're where they're supposed to be on me to win a race. And then after I win a race, when I let off, I always try to sneak a peek at the scoreboard to see who won.
Okay. All right. And then you get your time slip. So I know you said 60 miles an hour is about how fast you go. What's your best time that you've done? Do you know?
Um,
No.
I think it's like I think I did 10, 10,
10:20, I think
26.
it was when we were
Okay.
testing the other motor. I think it was about 10:20.
Okay. That's pretty fast. Yeah. Yeah,
Yep.
for sure. So what are your goals for racing? I know, you're 10 years old, but I feel like I'm talking to somebody way older than 10. So looking down the road at racing, what is it that you want to do or accomplish with your racing career?
I want to try and win a championship at Brainerd because I that's one of my hardest tracks to compete at. I feel like some people are the same, but some are different, and I feel like they're really difficult to beat. So I really want to win a championship at Brainerd, but I also, when I am 18, I want to try to become a pro stock driver.
Okay. All right. I figured that was in there somewhere along the line. She wants to do that. So do you have a favorite driver that you follow?
I do actually. I really enjoy hanging out with Erica Enders. Like, it's really fun to do. I've gotten to see a lot of the stuff that they do for it, and actually, it's kind of fun that they sang me happy birthday last year. Well, this year.
Oh, very
And
cool.
she also got Erica Enders. She does junior drag racing suits, and Erica had given Brooklyn the privilege of being the first one that was made.
Oh, Brooklyn, that's cool. Don't ever get rid of that. You got to always hang on to that one for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I interviewed Erica a few years ago at the PRI show in Indy, and she's such a nice person. And then her sister too. I've
Oh yeah.
talked to her a few times. So, yeah, that's the kind of people you want to stay in touch with, because not only are they good people to look up to and follow as far as racing, but they're just good people, and I know they'll be encouraging to you for sure. So this next year you're going to race pretty much the same tracks. Do you ever come to Michigan and race anywhere?
The farthest we've traveled is Iowa.
Well, we've been to Kansas, and then Iowa, Minnesota, Wisconsin. Um, there's plans that we might be moving south in the near future, but right now it's kind of just in the works. But we're looking at
Okay.
different tracks because we want to get more competition because it is the same people,
Yeah.
every weekend, which is great. But
Yeah, but I feel like it makes me a better racer to go against different competition and harder competition and people
Yeah.
that go faster and older than me.
Mhm.
Well, and people that you don't know, you kind of get used to the people that you race, and you kind of pick up on their habits or tendencies, and so going somewhere new always, gives you that much more competition to try to beat for sure. I live near US 131 Motorsports Park in Martin, Michigan. It's about 20 minutes from my house. Very, very nice track, and they hold some really big races during the year. So I always encourage you, if you ever come the Michigan route, to let me know, because I've gone there and watched quite a number of women that I've met race for sure. So
okay, yeah, we'll have to look into that.
yeah, you should, because it's a nice track, and yeah, I would encourage you to come there. Now, school,
Absolutely.
you love school. You still go to school, or does mom homeschool?
Go to school.
You don't mom's shaking her head like, nope, no
No, I don't
homeschool in
think
your
that would be
future.
that would not be good.
That would not be good. Okay.
Nope.
I couldn't have done that either. Yeah, my kids luckily were all good students. And so I didn't really have to sit and work at homework at night or any of that. I was really lucky. But I couldn't have homeschooled them, because nobody would have learned anything. That would have been disastrous for sure. So in school, do you participate in any other like activities? I know at 10 there's not a lot of things, but are there other sports that you like to do, or is racing pretty much it?
So last year for school activity, I was in DI engineering.
That was Destination Imagination.
Yeah. And then this year I'm in student council for my school.
Okay.
And I don't do really any sports. I have done soccer in the past, but
Okay.
I really have just enjoyed racing.
Yeah. And it's kind of sad in a way, Mom, that they have to focus on one thing, isn't it? Even if it's soccer. Nowadays, if
Yeah.
you don't, you got to kind of pick your sport, and then you got to just work your butt off, literally, if you want to be good at it and compete. And the same with racing. And that it's kind of sad that nowadays kids can't just play for the fun of playing some of those sports. But if you want to be good or successful at any of it, it's just not how it is anymore. Yeah. So what about social
Yeah.
media at 10 years old? Does your mom take care of that? Do you have a social media account? Tell me about it.
Now, mom usually takes care of it. We have like Hot Family Racing on Facebook that is with me and my dad and post a lot about that stuff. And
Okay.
that's really all we post about.
Okay. So HOP, HOP, just one P, HOP Family
Yep.
Racing. And you have Facebook. What else do you have that we could find you? Do you have
Let's
Instagram
do.
or?
I do not. I'm kind of
Okay.
old school, so I
Yeah,
only
me
do like
too.
the Facebook.
Okay.
But yeah, we have the family web page, which is the Hop Family Racing, and we make posts about Brooklyn, and then we also make posts about my husband Jason,
Okay.
that does Super Pro, and we just kind of post on. Jason and I will post things about her racing or his racing on our own personal page too.
Okay. All right.
And then we do
So,
a lot with like the Chicks on Slicks
Yeah.
oh yeah.
when she does do well, they'll normally post her picture on there as
Mhm.
well that she's won for the weekend.
Yeah, that's where I found her name, was on
Oh,
Chicks,
okay.
because they share a lot of stuff with me, and I know quite a number of those gals. And so I think you had asked me how did I hear about her, and I couldn't really remember, because I get information from so many sources. But after you said Chicks on Slicks, yeah, for sure, that's a really great page, because they really do
It
promote
is.
the girls that race. Yeah, for sure. So
She loves her. She
go
has the
ahead.
hoodies from Chicks on Slicks. She has like all the stickers for the winning on her helmet so
Yeah.
far. She has on her car.
Yeah.
So she's a big supporter of Chicks on Slicks.
Yeah, that's great. So if you had a little girl come up to you, say she's 6 years old, and she says, Brooklyn, I want to start racing. What should I do? Do you have any advice or any suggestions how she should get started?
First, you have to get a car, and then depending on the age, you get the motor for the age, and then you have to get lots of the safety equipment. There's Hans devices, helmets, head socks, fire suits, arm restraints, is
So
oh,
your neck,
gloves.
your neck
Yeah,
guard.
and then you don't need shoes, like you can race in tennis shoes, but I have race shoes.
Yeah.
You're missing one important thing though too. You have to go get a physical done.
Oh yeah,
Brooklyn's
you have to get a
favorite part.
physical.
Yeah. Because we want to make sure you're healthy before you go out
Yep.
there, and even more so that the people you're racing against are healthy, right? Yeah. It's not always about
And
us.
I know in the past when girls have asked you, like, watch right on track too, because that's gonna kind of show you what
Yeah.
it is like because she's gone through similar situations, just like the movie
Yeah.
puts on, I guess.
Right. So what has been maybe the hardest thing you've gone through, and yet you've stuck it out and you're still racing? Do you want to share that?
Yeah, so in second and third grade, I actually got like bullied a lot in school for it because a lot of girls were in dance and gymnastics and everything were saying it's not a sport, and they didn't realize actually how committed I was to it and how much I wanted to do it. So I kind of got pushed away from out of friend groups because of that. So
Brooklyn, I hear that a lot from girls that are in racing. Um, I hear that from girls who say, I really didn't have a lot of friends in school growing up because they didn't understand what I did, and they were gone every weekend. They weren't at the movie or at the party or at, playing softball or soccer or whatever. And so it does make it hard. So you said you were bullied, so you obviously have kind of overcome that. Can you share with other girls who maybe go through that? What did you do, or what could you do to make it better?
I kind of just stuck to myself and knew that it wasn't be worth quitting that sport to be in their friend group because I thought I mean, the school is just for the winter, and I don't know, um I think you need to have self-confidence in yourself, and racing really does give you a lot of that.
Yeah, it does. I'm really proud of you for um, sticking to your guns and saying, I'm not gonna, give in to this peer pressure. And mom, you've done a great job too, because most kids at that age, you know, I don't know how they handle bullying. Some don't handle it very well, but she's very mature for her age and has obviously had some good conversations with someone that has said, this is who you are. You be who you are. You don't need to be somebody you're not just to fit in with those girls over there. And they'll respect you at some point, Brooklyn. Maybe not now. Maybe, it's too soon. They're too young. But at some point, they're going to look back, or they're going to, at some point, as you get older, be like, wow, Brooklyn, you really do something that's amazing that none of us do. And so you keep remembering that you're doing what you're passionate about and you're doing what you love, and just keep going forward. I've really enjoyed learning more about you. What are some things that I haven't asked you about that you think people need to know about you, or your racing, or anything at all like that? What have we not talked about?
I actually think that I feel like that people need to know when you start off, you're not just gonna start winning and winning because when actually did my first race, I won my first round, but then I lost my second because there was only two other people besides me. So I don't know. It kind of you're not going to win every race, but when those days are that you win, you should be proud of yourself and know that it may be a while until you win again, but if you know you can do it, especially if you've already won, you know that you can do it again.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't give up and just keep pushing forward, learning everything you can. Now, I'm sure your dad's a huge help as far as teaching you about how to do the racing part. Mom's the encourager and dad is the probably the coach, more like the coach. What do you think is the thing that dad has helped you with the most?
I think dad has helped me with a lot of things, getting me out of just staying with myself and pushing me off to other people. But also, I feel like my dad has really helped me with
Yeah.
looking in
Checking
the
lane.
yeah, it's checking the lane for when I'm racing. That's one thing that I've always remembered because he used to like taunt me like, "Oh, did you not do this because you didn't look in the lane and stuff?" So it really is stuck in my head, but it's also really cool to like see his racing and everything, and his tips can make me better as well.
Oh yeah, for sure. And it makes you closer to dad too, because really all three of you, but you and dad share something as far as the driving part. I love hearing that when I talk to young gals, and sometimes it's their mom that races and sometimes it's their dad, but it's a bond that they create or you're creating at such a young age that is just going to be there forever. So when you go to these tracks, he normally is racing the same time or the same weekend that you race. You try to go to tracks where you can both race.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Besides Eddyville.
Yeah,
Eddyville's the
Eddyville is
only
for
one.
Eddyville. We usually go to the Halloween Nationals and it's just juniors. So
Okay. All
yeah,
right. So is there a track or a certain race or something that you have your eye set on that you're like, I really want to do that when I'm the right age or when I'm better or whatever? Do you have anything like that? Like a bucket list kind? You know what a bucket list is?
yeah.
We wanted to race in Florida.
I really think it'd be fun to race in Florida. I've also really wanted to go to the East and West Coast,
So
the
the
Eastern
Eastern Conference,
Conferences.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
But
Yeah.
they make
So
it so hard because they don't have a divisional by us. It's at least a 12-hour drive from us
yeah.
because we're way up in, well, we're mid
Yeah.
Minnesota. But I
Right.
know, like this past year, we had to miss it because it was all the way in Colorado, and
Yeah.
work with work schedules and everything. It makes it hard.
Yeah. Absolutely. Because somebody's got to work because racing's not free, is it? So
Yeah.
talking
For sure.
talking about that, do you have sponsors that help sponsor your car? Are you able to list them? Do you want to talk about them at all?
Yeah, so my first one is KGB, Mike and Don Kretsky. Mike and Don are actually going to be building my new motor for this upcoming season. So it's been really fun getting to race with them because they race a lot of the events that my dad races as well. So getting to see them, it's kind of like our
Their
family.
family.
They're their family. Then Sergeant Hot Wheels. We this year at what is that place called?
We did the Gopher State car show, and he's in the military for the National Guard, and he came across Brooklyn, and they
Just gave me
kind of just connected,
yeah.
and is
I can
helping
see
her
why
out
he
with
would have connected with you. Yeah.
Thank you.
And then I have Jaeger guys. Travis has came to a lot of my races, so even he's came to that show, which was how many hours? That was a few
That was a
hours.
full weekend, and it was
Yeah,
about 10 to 11 hours per day. So it was a long
Yeah.
event. But she was able to show her car there, and he came all the way from Wisconsin, so it was at least a 3 or 4 hour drive for him one way. So that was nice.
Uh-huh.
You know, he's been very supportive towards
yeah.
her.
Yeah. So how about other fans? Do you have other fans that come and watch you a lot or follow you consistently on social media?
Yeah, I have a guy from Brainerd, his Richard Rhoda. He has supported me a lot this season in racing, and it's kind of fun because we've had such a bond that he's almost kind of like my grandpa.
Okay, that's cool.
And then like the staffing at Rock Falls, Larry, he was the tech guy, and he's the one that actually got her license and
license.
everything. So he follows her and he comes to the tracks with us.
And we've had like people that have worked at tracks in the past. Becky, she's been following me, and she showed up actually at the banquet last year.
And then
Nice.
also her assistant principal from her school has came to Wisconsin to show her support towards Brooklyn as
Yes.
well for her racing.
I was going to ask you when we were talking about school, and then I kind of got off track. How, if anybody from your school or comes to watch, and so that's cool. That, and then your teachers, they know that you race, probably, right?
Yes, so I have two teachers. I have like switch teachers, and for math, my homeroom teacher, she is very, very supportive with me. And then my reading teacher, he loves it. Like we have a school broadcast, and I get to be on that to talk more about racing and to show kids what I do.
Yeah, that's cool. Have you ever taken your car to school to show it off? Like on a day? You should ask them if you could ever, sometimes they have kids because, racing involves science and math and reading and all the things that we learn in school. So, maybe you could write a little report about how school helps you with your racing, and you could bring your race car to school. Just a
That'd be
thought.
pretty cool.
That'd
Yeah,
be kind of
we had to
fun,
ask
wouldn't
about
it?
that.
Yeah,
Yes.
that'd be kind of fun. So, Brooklyn, what else have we not talked about that I want to make sure that we let people know about you and what you're up to?
What do you think we've missed, Mom?
I don't know.
Mm,
Just kind of be just going into the new season. She's moving up in class, so
Yeah,
Yeah, and I think it's one of the things to go in like with lots of confidence and not to be
yeah,
nervous. I mean, of course, be nervous because that helps you, but to not be, I don't even know how to put it, just not to be scared to go
right.
because it's super fun and it's super safe, like you said, with all the equipment that we wear.
Yeah. And it's okay, like you said, it's okay to be nervous because that keeps you on top of things, but not to be scared because
Yeah.
there's no reason to be scared, for sure. No. Well, Brooklyn,
I think
go
I
ahead.
think this year was one year that she saw a couple incidents where we had a car
Yeah,
explosion
we had a car explosion
at Rock Falls.
at Rock Falls, yeah. And then was it last year when a big car went into the wall. And so watching that, it was like a super windy day.
Well, then we
So
also at Grove
and then
watched
at
the junior flip.
yeah, and then at Grove, like a junior kind of started, and then it just went, and the dad tried to stop it, and it flipped, and it hit the wall and everything. So I think and I was only like 2 cars behind it, so it really was scary. But even seeing those incidents, it can be scary, but it tells you everyone was okay and everything, and
Mhm.
it says that the gear really does help you.
Yeah. Yeah, it
Keep you
really
safe.
does. For sure. Okay. Well, you know what? I really hope that I get to come and watch you race sometime because, yeah, Mom, I can see why all these people say they have a bond with her. She's got something special. There's something special about her that just kind of gets a hold of you when you talk to her. So, Brooklyn,
Thank you.
Thank you.
I want you to have a very successful season. How soon do you start? Like April, probably April, May.
April, yeah.
April.
Yeah, got to
We
make sure there's no
we have the
snow.
what do we have? We have banquets coming up all
Yeah.
winter here. So we have the MDRA banquet next weekend.
And then we have the Brainerd one. When is that?
I think that's in January.
And then we also have the Rock Falls one coming in January.
Yeah, for sure. And those are fun because you've got championships to celebrate. So that's always fun for sure.
Yes.
Well, you could tell
and-
that too. You have like over like what 75 trophies.
Yeah, I do have over like 75 trophies.
Brooklyn, where are they all?
Well, we keep a lot in the garage. Like Dad builds like a stand, and then we have them all around the house, and we have them in the living room, my
bedroom,
room,
in my room.
Yeah.
And then she has 4 Wallies as well.
Yeah, that's really cool. That's really
Mhm.
cool to have 4 Wallies and you're 10 years old. Yeah, amazing. Yeah, you're going to have to build a bigger house or get a bigger house or have a shop that just has a trophy room because you've already got more than a lot of people have and you're going to be adding to it, I know for sure. Yeah. Well, Brooklyn and Mom, I'm sorry. Your name just escaped me.
Tessa.
Tessa. I knew
Yep.
I knew it. I just couldn't think of it. So
That's okay.
Tessa and Brooklyn, I want to thank you so much for taking time on a weeknight. I'm sure you have homework and things that you could be doing, but we're talking about racing and there's nothing better than that, is there?
No.
Sharing about what we love with other people that love it just like we do. So I appreciate you being on the show with me. And I definitely, I have you on my watch list so that I follow and see. And then, you know, another thing you need to tag me when you post things. And that way I make sure I see what's happening. And so tag Women's Motorsports Network, a media company. And that way it shows up in my feed and then I can really keep track and share about what you're doing. So you have a good winter, a good Thanksgiving and Christmas, and shoot, before you know it, it'll be time to get that car ready and start racing all over again, won't it?
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, thank you, ladies. Thank you so much. And
Yes, thank you.
I'm going to end the recording, but I want you to stick around for just a minute. So thanks everybody for listening. This has been Melinda Russell with the Women's Motorsports Network podcast. And my guest today was Brooklyn Hopp and her mom, Tessa. Thank you for listening to the Women's Motorsports Network podcast. Subscribe to my show and follow me on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube. If you or someone you know would like to be featured in the Women's Motorsports Network News online magazine, this podcast, or Let's Talk Racing Live, my social media show, contact me via Messenger on Facebook at Melinda Russell, or send me an email at womensmotorsportsnetwork